Welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name is Ian Ray. I'm your host for today. And today we have Antonia Lambiris from Montreal, Quebec. She's the owner of HEAL, Health and Exercise, Antonia Lambiris. She's an athletic therapist, a fascia stretch therapist, a sports first responder, and an SMFT level 2, which I'm going to find out today. And she's also an anatomy and physiology teacher at her massage school. Is that correct?
That's correct. Oh my God, you did your research.
I did my homework. Yes. Well, welcome, Antonia, to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah, I always like to, introduce people with their titles and whatnot. So tell me, what is this SMFT level 2 before I even start?
Basically what that is that it's structural myofascial therapy. It's a little similar to FST, I guess, but it's a little bit more hands-on than just like stretching the fascias.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some stuff that we do with them off the table to like check how they're feeling in their body and like what their posture kind of looks like by putting them in like the ideal posture, if you will. And then we can evaluate and see like how they feel in their body in this new posture. And then based off of the information that they give us, then we could treat with myofascial techniques. And it's really like you use shea butter and it's really hands-on. It's like soft fits, like palms, stuff like that. And
Okay.
the results after are pretty incredible. So I find combining both SMFT and T is just, it's been incredible for my clients.
That is awesome. Okay, so before I ask more questions, tell me, how did you get started? I mean, I know you're a massage therapist, correct? And athletic therapist. So like, what's your backstory? Tell me in a nutshell.
When I was like really young, like I remember being outside of the schoolyard and my friend told me what I wanted to do in life. I was like, I don't know, in grade 3 or something. And I literally told her, I'm like, my purpose on this planet is to help people. From a young age, I knew that. How I knew that, I couldn't tell you. But from there, I did all my health sciences. I went into the sciences in college and in university. And I wanted to go into physio originally because it combined my love for sports and helping people. My grades weren't high enough to get into physio. So then my mom did some research and she found the athletic therapy program at Concordia University. And honestly, as soon as I enrolled, I ended up falling completely in love. I was like, this is what I was meant to do. And then the only reason I decided to do massage was because during COVID, there wasn't much to do and I didn't feel like wasting my time. Like, you know what, let me go get my massage license. I don't think it'll hurt. If anything, it'll add to my practice. And that's what led me into teaching, because a month or two after I had graduated, they called me up and said like, hey, we need an anatomy and physiology teacher. We think you'd be an amazing fit. And I've been doing that since 2021. Yeah. And I had opened up my own practice and officially also at the beginning of 2021. So
what a time.
I know. And it's been a crazy, amazing journey ever since. I would never go back. I'm absolutely obsessed.
So with that, I guess, who do you typically treat? Who's your demographic, your population?
I have a little bit of everyone. For sure, my specialty is with athletes. It doesn't mean that because my title is athletic therapist, I only treat athletes. I could do a bit of Monsieur, Madame, tout le monde, a little bit of everyone. Eldest I've treated is up to 75, 80 years old for my older clients, and the youngest I've treated is 14. But I would say my demographic is between that like 14 to maybe 50-year-old age range of people who are like pretty active, like either at the gym or through sports.
And then how did you find out about fascia stretch therapy to Stretch to Win?
In athletic therapy, we had quite a few teachers, and there was one teacher that I was just absolutely obsessed with. I could pick her brain if I wanted to.
What's her name?
Her name is Victoria Robinson. She's also an athletic therapist.
Shout out to Victoria.
Yes, she's amazing. I'm absolutely adore her. And I loved her practice. She's been obsessed with fascia as well. She's done a lot of fascial courses in general. And one of them was fascial stretch therapy. So because of her, that's how I found out about FST.
And you've been fascia stretch therapy certified since 2000?
I think it was 2022, because then 2 years later we have to recertify. So I just decided to do level 2. So since 2022.
Okay. Did you have any initial thoughts, hesitancy when you first enrolled in the class?
Just that it was like not the cheapest course to take, and it is a whole week that we're dedicating to this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I had like any reservations or anything. Biggest like, shock for me was when I got there. It was really like I'm here to do work and I'm here to learn stuff. And when I go back, like that's gonna be it. And it ended up that whole week ended up just changing my life for the better. And the energy in our class from day one compared to day five was just the biggest switch, and we left with like such a high, and I felt like I was on this like serotonin dopamine high for so long after too. It was just I couldn't wait to go back for this second one. Like I was so excited for the buildup of this second one because I knew that feeling, and I was like, I can't wait to experience and feel this again. It was amazing.
Yeah, I felt the same way too. I think it's, first going in, the first day is like, you don't know what to expect. You don't know who everyone is. And then of course, at the end of the week, you love getting to know everyone and you know people's story, and you're getting comfortable, rather than the first day. So it's like, I totally understand what you felt. And this
And
was
I feel
this,
like any like prejudgments on anyone either like just fades away because you listen to their stories and you're just like, I would have never known. This is so cool. You're really cool, right? So I'm sure you had something similar, right?
yes, that's so true too, with that high that you left because you got a skill set that you didn't know about, and then you felt it on the table yourself, so you know the effects of it, and then you're like, everyone should be on the table to know what this is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
How are you including fascia stretch therapy with your clients?
Way I do it is that I could offer two different sessions. I either offer just a full fascial stretch therapy or I include some techniques in my athletic therapy practice, right? Because even though we learn it as a system, they also tell us by the end of the week that it doesn't just have to be a system and
Mm-hmm.
use specific parts that you need as certain tools. So depending on the clients that I come in, I assess and see what they need. Usually when it's their first time and they're just like, I'm really tight everywhere, I'll suggest a fascial stretch therapy. If they come in with a specific injury, then I assess the injury itself, and then I'll pick and choose different techniques that I'll want to use in that session, depending if it's a shoulder, low back, hip, etc. So that's how I incorporate it in my practice.
Do you have any recent or past success stories of people who have come in to your clinic, or you've done sessions and they're like, from beginning until now they've changed, and I don't know, physically, emotionally? You tell me, like, what are some wins and success stories you had?
I have quite a few actually, not to
No, no, go.
brag, I guess, but
We want to know.
um,
That's the whole reason for the podcast, is I want to know how FSD in real time works, and like the stories, because that's what makes this podcast cool, is that people who are wanting to know, well, why should I do FSD in my practice? Well, this is the stories that I want to hear people. So go ahead.
really. If I could pick and choose a couple of them, so I would say like when I first started with FST, uh, it was when there's too much to do in one session. I only have an hour with my clients. So sometimes it feels like a lot, sometimes it feels like it's not enough. So with my clients that had I needed to do like a lot of stuff with, I would just do full body FST. And honestly, even just with the level one stuff, they would say, I've never gotten treated like this before. This is amazing. Initially, they would feel like really tired, I find. There's one specific guy actually I've been seeing for about 3 years now. Basically every week, and he makes fun of me that the only times that he doesn't see me is because either I'm away or I'm sick or something. So it's not by choice of his, it's because of me. I've been seeing him once a week for the last 3 years, more or less. And the
Mm-hmm.
difference in his hips and in his body and his bodily awareness is just crazy. He plays a lot of hockey, really intense ball hockey at like quite a high level. And his hips at the beginning were just like not moving, like everything was like seized and tight. And like the difference that we have now is just incredible. Like sometimes I'm doing FST on him and I'm like, how do we like how are we in this much range? Like where did all this come from, you know? So the benefits that it gives, like having done it every week, is just incredible. I have some other clients that come once a month, and that still makes quite a difference because I find the effects of FST last so much longer in comparison to other treatment techniques. It's not to say that I don't think people shouldn't be going to see other professionals. I always encourage of seeing different professionals because we all have something different to bring to the table. But I always say that I think FST is like a great first start because it unlocks so much stuff so that when you go see the other professionals, they have so much more to work with and it's almost like more beneficial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It unlocks a lot of what your body's potential can do.
And my clients have even told me, like, actually, I had a client this morning and he said, honestly, without you, I don't think I would be playing hockey as much as I am now. He's like, not only are you helping me physically, but for my mental health too, right? Imagine he had to stop completely like his sports. It's not fathomable for him. Like his sports are his life. And even
Hmm.
another client of mine, she had a really bad car accident a few years ago. And she's like, you have changed my life. She's like, I don't know what I would do without you. I don't know where I would be pain wise, like feeling, she still feels pain because it
Hmm.
obviously was really chronic, but she's like, the amount that you've taken away and given me back mentally is just, she's like, I could never thank you enough. And it honestly brings tears to my eyes when people say that because that's why I do what I do, right? Like the goal is to help people.
Yeah. Goes back to your
Yeah.
mission, your purpose of what you're doing.
My purpose from grade 3 that I said outside of the schoolyard.
You're living it. And that's the awesome thing is that you're living, you're doing a thing which brings you that happiness, the work that
It does.
actually means to you. And of course, you're changing people's life, which, that's the blessing of it. So,
It's so rewarding and I wouldn't change it for anything. It doesn't mean to say that we don't all have hard days. We're all still human. At the end of the day, not every day is the high that I feel when I leave my
mhm.
FST courses, right? But it helps me get out of bed in the morning knowing that I'm making a difference mentally and physically for my clients, you know?
So first time clients, new clients, or people just in general, when they're always asking you like, so what do you do as a fascia stretch therapist, or what is fascia? How do you explain it to someone?
Well, depends on the client, but I usually say that fascial stretch therapy, the feeling of it is essentially like we're doing you're doing yoga while taking a nap. So I'm basically the one doing all the yoga for you while you're just like chilling on the table, you know? The way that I explain fascia to them is that if fascia literally connects us from head to toe, and it's all a chain. So sometimes when you have hip pain, it means that it could be coming from somewhere else. Or if you have neck pain, sometimes it could be coming from the shoulders because everything's connected. And then I use the example of my t-shirt and I'll tell them if I have a knot here, you can't see super well because it's in black, but if you have a knot here, they see that there's pulls coming from every single which way on my t-shirt and I'm just like, well, if there's a knot here and it's pulling all the way from my hip, well, by releasing this knot, well, I'm getting rid of and loosening everything else around, you know? So I explain it like it's like this like glue that keeps us all together and connects us head to toe and also has an impact emotionally because it holds emotions, right?
Hmm. So do you say that fascia stretch therapy, where do you see that coming in the next several years? Do you see it growing? Do you see it more of a common thing, like people should be knowing this more?
That everyone should be doing fascial stretch therapy, especially given that most people, if not everyone, are really
Hmm.
lazy to stretch themselves. Just like a car, right? A car. I mean, we're gonna be honest. Like, I know that when my clients leave, they don't stretch. Like, that's why they come here and like they're practically broken. But the older that we get, the more maintenance that we need. Just like a
Hmm.
car, we take our car for an oil change every 3 months. How come we can't give our machine, which is our body, an oil change at least once a month? We're doing the same things every single day. It should be more, but let's start at once a month and then let's go from there. And I don't think people realize the value and the difference that makes long term, right? Fascial stretch therapy, I think, can actually increase. Maybe it's a big statement, but I think it could actually increase the longevity of people in their bodies and how they're feeling and everything, you know? So I think it's huge, and I think it can only grow from here. And the faster people realize that, the faster we're all going to start feeling better.
Yeah. That's one thing. I've interviewed so many people, and I've always asked that question because, like, with you know, here in the States, we have Stretch Lab, Stretch Zone, these assisted stretching boutique places, and of course, Canada, you have like Stretch Health there with Brewery, leading the way, and of course, with so many of you practitioners being certified, like and opening your own clinic, that's awesome. There's going to be a need for more practitioners as fascia becomes a well-known thing. And I'm glad that there are research being done, like Chris and Ann and other people in the fascia space that bringing this to attention to people of the importance of fascias. Would you, as an anatomy and physiology teacher at your massage school, do you emphasize fascia or like give a little, here, this is what fascia is?
I do. My
Okay.
students know that I'm absolutely obsessed with fascia, and every second that I can talk about it, I will. And
Uh-huh.
I always bring to them, because I always mention the emotional aspect, especially that it has. Because in massage, you're working with muscles that also, the muscles don't hold the emotions as much because they're by the fascia themselves. But I always
Hmm.
explain to them that emotional impact it can have. And the way I explain it to my clients and my students is that if you take the word emotion and you split it in two, you have the word E and motion, or the letter, I should say, the letter E and then motion. So E means energy. And we learned that energy is nor created or destroyed, it's always transferred. So if people are constantly stressed in life and there's no outlet, it doesn't come out either through physical activity or just speaking about it, well, where's that energy going to get transferred? It can't get transferred out, it's going to transfer internally.
Yeah.
It gets stuck somewhere in the body. So the way that you let it out through fascial stretch therapy or massage, we learn in those classes and in those courses that people can have emotional reactions on the table. And I think that's why, especially with our clients that internalize. That's the biggest difference that I see with some of my clients, male clients, but females too, of course. Um,
Hmm.
they're a lot tighter in the bigger joints, like their shoulders and their hips, because men tend to internalize a lot more than women. That's something that I always tell my students and my clients. And there's like this little light bulb that goes off, and they're like, oh, actually makes so much sense, right? Because everything is energy at the end of the day. In my opinion, maybe I sound crazy, but
Well, energy flows where energy goes, right? So that's
so
the thing. And I totally agree about that, emotions being stored, especially in those major large groups. I guess hips have been one of the main things I've been working on with clients, and that seems to be a lot of people's problem. Like, oh, my lower back or my hamstring. We should look at your hips more because that's where, a lot of it's stored with your upper body and lower body. There's so much that I learned when I was like working at a physio clinic about the pelvic floor and just that structure. It plays an important role, especially in athletics. Definitely. Yeah.
because they're always in that stance, right? They're always in that forward stance. They're always in that their hip flexors are always in that flex position. So it makes sense that you're going to want to go and work on hip area, and that's where stretch therapy, when you think about it as a system, when people say they have low back pain and hamstring pain, instead of just focusing on those two things, you're like, well, let's meet in the middle at the glutes. Maybe that's what's causing you the issue.
Mm.
So I always love to come back and find the source of the problem with my clients. I think that's the biggest distinction between me and a lot of other practitioners. When my clients come to see me after
Hmm.
the first session, they always say, I feel so much better after one session with you than X amount with someone else, because I'm sitting there and I'm doing active listening, and I'm listening to what their needs are, and I'm listening to what their body is telling me that it needs fixed also, right? I'm not just like, okay, you have low back pain, let me just go look at your low back. Well, no, I have to go look at everything, especially with chronic pain.
Sure. Have you ever, I guess switching to different gear, but I'm curious, like for practitioners who are listening, our future practitioners who are looking at Stretch to Win Institute to enroll in this, if they have, do you have any tips, or like what would you say to that one person who is kind of hesitant about enrolling in that class?
Say, just go for it. If you're hesitant, it almost means like you should take that leap, you should take that jump, because life isn't just lived in our comfort zone, it's lived in the discomfort, right? And by taking that leap, I just think it's going to be absolutely incredible, and it really is life changing to take that Stretch to Win course for fascial stretch therapy. I can't advocate for it enough. Like, it's not only going to change your life, but it's also going to change your client's life and make you such a better practitioner, because it not only makes you know the system, but it makes you more aware in your body as well, right?
And then as far as like your business with Heal, what are some of your long-term goals that you have?
Like, so many people ask me this question, and I never know, because that's, and I know it sounds crazy that I don't know, because people will sit there with like their 5 year and 10 year plans, and I'm just there like, I don't really have a plan. But that's just me, especially as an entrepreneur. Like I dive into a little bit of everything. Like you read a huge list of stuff that I do, like just it's all still connected, right? But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an AT, I'm a massage therapist, and I'm an FST. I teach. I even do at kids' parties on the side just because I like to keep things interesting and it's like super random, but that's just me, right? So to say that like where I see my business going, I don't know, but I hope that it keeps growing and I just want to build like a community for myself and my clients where they feel like there's a safe space for them to come and feel like their needs are being met. So that's the biggest thing. Whether there's a clinic that might open up in the future or a partnership that can happen, I'm always open to ideas. But I'm a little bit of like a nomad, so I kind of just go where the wind takes me.
And as far
I
as
hope
like
that's a
the
good answer. I'm
no,
like,
that's totally fine. Like, because like I said, different entrepreneurs have different goals and visions of how they're using, their practice as, whether if it's a, main income, a passion project, or side income, whatever it is. So I'm always curious to see like what, where you're headed. So yeah.
absolutely.
Um, a couple other things as far as like strategies since the time that you started this heal practice, what strategies have you found most effective in growing your business?
I decided to take the more organic route. So I really just do word of mouth right now, and business has been booming just by that. Obviously, it took a little bit of time, but once the ball started rolling and people started realizing what I bring to the table, there was like a lot more word of mouth. I tried doing a little bit of advertising here and there, but messages I was getting weren't very kosher. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this advertising stuff's not for me. So we'll just stick with word of mouth and friends and family. And I can't complain. I'm super blessed. It's been growing. I've had no issues. Um, find clients through word of mouth are just a lot more reliable because it's a friend of a friend or a family friend or another family member. So when that person comes in and if they do something weird and I message that person and be like, well, your person that you sent me is kind of like, off. What are you doing? Like
Yeah.
people don't want that, right? They're not going to tell someone to go see someone else if it's going to ruin their name. So I kind of like this route of word of mouth. But I think something that I need to start doing a little more is maybe posting more reels of fascial stretch therapy because then that gets people curious of like, oh my God, I want to be pulled in that direction. Oh my God, I want my neck to go here. Or like, oh my God, can I put my leg over my head like that? Like, so if I started doing more reels like that and like fast forwarding them and making them like a time lapse, I think that would kind of grow my business a little more. And from the people that I spoke about in the FST course level 2, a lot of them were saying that quick little snippets of reels like that makes people like really curious about what's going on. So I think
Yeah,
that could help.
you
Yeah,
should. It's fun.
I think I will.
It's simple. It's free.
It's like it's honestly that's it. It's simple. Why aren't you doing
Yeah.
it? Editing that kills me, but I think I should start doing it. I think I will.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah.
I know. I guess for those two, like, of course, you have to get consent and whatnot. And if you're not used to recording and asking people, but I think more people that I've stretched and asked them, hey, I'm sharing with my content. I'm just trying to grow this FST business and just the word of FST. Like they're more than willing to. So you'll be surprised.
Absolutely. I don't think my clients wouldn't not want to.
Plus, you can
Or it's
always
more
ask
me.
them to say, give me a quick testimonial or like, hey, is it okay if I tag you and you can, and that'll kind of reach them and their fan base too. So
That's a good idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, as far as like reaching new clients. I know you said a referral, word of mouth. That's awesome. I think that's a more trusted source to get from, right? Like you're saying. So that's an awesome thing to do. I guess my last question for you is, if you had to do this over again and, I guess enrolling and of course starting your business, are there any ideas that you thought maybe I should do things differently as far as growing a business or getting?
I would have started sooner or maybe started charging more. Otherwise, I'm huge on like everything happens for a reason and there's a reason that
Mm-hmm.
everything happened this way and I don't know if I would go back and change anything because there's a reason why I am the way I am today and I love where I am today and I change anything back then would it be the same now? Would I love it as much? Who knows, But I guess I would honestly just have started my business sooner. Taken that leap start my business sooner and not be in my comfort zone and be like, oh, like I'm scared. Like, nah, just don't be scared. Just take the dive. which is why people should just take the dive to take that FST level 1.
Yeah. How long did it take you to start your business? Like how many?
I would say like about a year and a half or so. I was thinking about it, and then the genius that I am, I started it during COVID. I did that. I could not tell you. I honestly couldn't. But it almost worked to my advantage because when clinics did start opening up again, they were swamped, they were bombarded, and there was like no room for people. So then people were like, "Oh wait, I think I know someone, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure her name's Antonia. So let me reach out." So they'd reach out to me and they'd be like, "Hey, like, are you free?" And I'd be like, "Oh my God, let me just check my calendar." Yeah, I'm good. I think that really worked out in my favor. Decided to start it, which again, that's why I probably wouldn't start it. I wouldn't change anything about my journey. I started it when I started it. It's growing. It's still growing. I hope it grows even more, and that I could be changing more people's lives if I can.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for hopping into my podcast. I want to help you grow your business as well. And so if you don't mind sharing with the audience how people can follow you and of course, learn more about what you're doing. So if you don't mind sharing your social, a website, email, and then of course the physical work location so they can go and book in a session with you. So go ahead.
Absolutely. So people can find me on Instagram or Facebook, but more Instagram than Facebook at heal.therapy underscore. If they want to follow me on my personal profile, because I also answer there, it's sero.tonia underscore, like serotonin. That's like the play on words. My website is actually in the link on my Heal Therapy account in the bio, so that people can click and appointment if they want. I have 2 locations. I have one in Laval and one in Montreal. I do work more out of my Laval location, but the Montreal is still an option. Laval comes with free pet therapy. So, I mean, if that's something that interests people, they'll be able to see all my pets. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for having me on. This was really fun.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to seeing more reels and more content from you, of course, on the social as you grow your business, and reaching more people in Montreal. And of course, for those who are wanting to learn about how Antonia and I got certified, please visit www.stretchtowin.com. The originator, Chris and Anne Frederick, who have been doing this for almost 30 years now. Granted that, they're doing some more research and there's just so many great people like yourself and I, and just wanting to help other people heal properly, naturally. And what a great time to be alive. So thanks again for hopping on. And for those of you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow the Stretch to Go podcast, where I release new episodes every Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Antonia.
Oh.
Bye-bye now. See you later.